Let me tell you a story about a beautiful soul. A beautiful girl with a beautiful smile, but she said she wasn't pretty though. I strongly disagreed and I had to let her know. I told her, "You're beautiful." She said no. She said, "I think you should go." She was a little heavy on the liquor, so I told her to take it slow. She said, "You don't understand. I think you should go." I said, "You're really beautiful." She said, "No, I think you should go." See, I wanted to hear her story, so I let her continue to speak. I wanted to let her know that there were no answers in that bottle and neither was there hope. But I didn't though. Instead, I let her speak. But I was never ready for the words that would follow. She said, "For the past few months, I've been drinking so much just to drown my sorrow." I said, "What is this about?" She said, "A couple months ago, I had an abortion and I've been feeling hollow." I was stunned. I couldn't speak. I didn't have the words. In a moment, she went from being one of the most beautiful people I've ever met in my life to being an imperfect individual. She was no longer perfect in my eyes. But today I sit and reflect and I realize that neither am I. It's ironic, right? See, this reminds me of the story of a man called Hosea. Hosea is a man of God. He's a man who walks uprightly with the Lord. He's a man who has a good reputation, I would imagine. And one day in his walk with God, as he's serving God, speaking on behalf of God as a prophet, God one day says to him, "Hosea, I have an assignment for you. I want to demonstrate something to my people. There is a point that I want to make to my people. I want to show them how much I love them. I want to show them something. And I'm going to need you on this one, Hosea. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go out and find a woman who is a prostitute and marry her." Hosea, as peculiar as this might seem, as weird as it seems, he goes out of his way to go find a woman called Gomer and he marries her. She's a prostitute. She's a woman who has been used by different men for their own pleasure and left right afterwards. She's a woman who's used to being bought and discarded right after. But Hosea goes out of his way to find this woman. He takes her in. He marries her. They go on to have 3 children. I can imagine this is an incredible story around town. Hosea went and married this prostitute, and it was weird at first, but seems like she's changed her life. It seems like her life has turned around. She's a mother now. She's a wife. Right? Everybody has a past after all. This is good. And so they live a life that I would imagine is peaceful, is happy, is pleasant. And that only lasted a little while. Until one day, Hosea wakes up in the morning and he finds that Gomer is gone. His wife, the mother of his children, is gone. Where did she go? She went back to her old life. She went back to how she used to live. She went back to selling herself to other men. Now, I still remember in my early days reading this story and hearing about this story, my pride popped up immediately. And the first thing I thought was, that could never be me. I could never be Hosea. I could never go out of my way to go find a prostitute and marry. Forget it. There's no way that I would go out of my way to go find a woman who has been selling herself to other men and make her my wife and the mother of my children. And I remember in thinking this way, one day God just said to me, "Of course, it could never be you. That's me." So that's me. That's God. In this whole story, I am in no way to be compared to Hosea. I don't think I'm capable of loving that way. In the story, I am this woman called Gomer. I am this woman who has given herself to the world. And now, even after Hosea takes her in and gives her a different life, she goes out of her way to go back to that old life. Now, as she goes out to go back to her old life, one day God comes to Hosea and says to Hosea, "Hosea, I want you to go get your wife back. Hosea, go get her back." I don't know about that. Hosea, go get her back. And God says, go find your wife and love her. Find your wife and love her, who is currently being loved by other men, who is currently being used by other men. Go find her and love her again. I am demonstrating something, Hosea. I want to show you something. I want to show you what my relationship with my children looks like. I want to show you what my relationship with my people looks like. Go find your wife. And I can only imagine what goes through Hosea's mind. In the first place, I went out of my way to do something that seemed abnormal. I went and found a prostitute. I married her. She became the mother of my children. And that was okay. She woke up one day and decided to leave, to go back to her old life. I let her go. Now I'm supposed to go find her again? Now I'm supposed to take her back and act as if everything's okay? Yes, Hosea, go and find her. Go and find your wife. And so he goes in obedience to God. He leaves his house to go find this woman. And I imagine that now he knows where to find her. He goes, and just bear with me for a moment, because I can only imagine a picture, right? The picture that I'm getting in my head is Hosea walking into this room where he sees his wife on a platform, currently being sold to the highest bidder. Sees his wife on a platform, and as he sees his wife on a platform, at one point they have a connection. He makes eye contact with her, and she immediately looks down, looks away in shame, in guilt. Can't believe that she did this. Can't believe that this is her right now. Hosea looks at her, and he has come here to find his wife. He has come here to get his wife back. That's what he's here for. And as he stands there, probably, I don't know, perhaps there's a man who comes to Hosea and says, are you interested? And Hosea says, yes, I am. I'm interested. How much? They tell him the price, and he pays the price in full and takes his wife back. He takes her back home, and as he takes her back home, he goes on to say to Gomer, Gomer, you will be with me. You will live with me many days. You will no longer leave me. You will not go to be with other men. You will not give yourself to other men. And this picture really humbles me, because in this moment, I see myself in this woman called Gomer, who is a prostitute. I see myself in this woman who is a sex slave. I see myself in this woman who is constantly selling herself to other men. Now, hear what I'm saying for a moment, because we do the same thing. See, we have this amazing relationship with a God who was so sovereign, a God who was so loving, went out of his way to do something that was quite abnormal, to find you and I, and to love us, to take us in, to make you and I a part of his family. And we still one day, after all he's done, after all he's given us, woke up one day and decided to go be with the world, to go back to how it used to be, to go back to our old lives. We've all done it. We've been there before. We've been there. And so I am humbled, and I am so grateful for a God who was just like this man called Hosea. I am so humbled by a God who goes out of his way to go find a broken individual such as myself, an individual who has given himself to the world time and time again, an individual who has been enticed by the ways of the world, an individual who has been tempted and given into that temptation of the world to take what the world had to offer at one point in time. He went out as though it wasn't enough that he took me in the first time. He went out and he bought me back. Friends, the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. It all belongs to God. It's his. But he still, after you and I went out of our way to give ourselves to the world, he still goes out of his way to find us and to bring us back into his family. This is love. This is real love.